Specific kind of exhaustion that sets in when you pour years of effort into a goal and get absolutely nothing in return. It is the moment the mind stops draining the pressure and the despair just pools. For 22-year-old Ethan Cole, that moment arrived on a Tuesday. He was standing in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment, holding a crisp white envelope. Inside was a rejection letter for a life-changing graduate scholarship, his third one in 3 years. When you hit a wall this hard, the internet is very quick to offer a solution. That solution is usually loud, angry, and highly monetized. You log on and find an endless feed of influencers screaming at you to wake up and do it alone. They frame success as a hyper-individualistic war, where the only way to win is to isolate yourself and outwork everyone else. Digital fantasies rarely survive contact with physical reality. He wasn't fighting a philosophical war. He was pushing a bicycle with a flat tire through freezing rain for a delivery job, knowing his mother was waking up for a 4 a.m. shift at the hospital laundry. Blind aggression is a highly inefficient tool for solving actual problems. You cannot scream your way out of systemic poverty, and pure anger will not help you balance a complex macroeconomic equation on a Tuesday night. When someone's spirit is entirely depleted, adopting a warrior's posture serves only to hide the damage. By treating every setback as a private war to be won alone, Ethan was effectively sealing off a pressure cooker, hiding the cracks while the internal tension continued to rise toward a total structural failure. The morning after Ethan finally broke down, he walked away from the rejection letters and sat by the city's river embankment. No screaming influencers, just the water. He was joined on a bench by an older man named Gerald. Gerald had failed his bar exam 4 times before going on to practice law for 40 years. He asked Ethan to look at the water and consider how the natural world actually processes failure. This diagram shows a river's early path. For 10,000 years, it failed constantly, breaking its banks, shrinking to cracked earth, and freezing solid. But it kept moving. This continuous motion compounded, smoothing into a steady flow, becoming a city's primary water source. Gerald offered Ethan a precise psychological pivot. There is a massive difference between experiencing a season of failure and adopting failure as your permanent identity. The river didn't decide it was a failed river, it just flowed. True endurance operates without ego. It requires detaching your sense of self-worth from immediate short-term outcomes and accepting that continuous setbacks are simply your education. Actual forward momentum rarely looks like a cinematic training montage. It is entirely uncelebrated. For Ethan, it meant opening a cheat notebook to a blank page and writing, "Today is not the end. It is day 1." The work itself was grueling. He spent 18 consecutive evenings hitting a brick wall on a single concept in advanced macroeconomics, drawing diagrams and crossing them out, making zero apparent progress. This is the mechanism of the iterative grind. You take a massive, mathematically impossible ambition, and you slice it down into microscopic, daily battles for comprehension. Despite the popular demand to do it alone, Ethan's solitary study had reached a hard ceiling. In complex fields like economics, working in a vacuum often leads to a feedback loop of the same misunderstandings. Rather than hoarding his hard-won knowledge, Ethan logged into an online community of competing scholarship applicants. When he finally cracked a tough concept, he immediately started teaching it to the others. Looking at this node network, we see the cognitive mechanics at play. When information travels outward, when you structure and explain ideas to someone else, the central node grows. Teaching physically reinforces your neurological understanding far better than reading alone ever could. Real resilience is a communal act. Pulling peers up is not a distraction from your goals. It is a mechanical requirement for reinforcing your intellectual foundation. Ethan spent 6 weeks refining his next application. He wrote 14 complete from scratch drafts of his personal essay until it was perfectly honest. Then came a quiet, agonizing 12-week wait. The answer arrived on a Thursday morning while he was mid-route on his delivery job. He put down a package, opened the email on his phone, and read the words, "Welcome to Hartwell, Ethan." That evening, he called his mother at work. Hearing her cry with relief proved something vital. Her quiet, enduring belief had been the lifeline keeping his head above water for years. Ethan graduated with distinction, but his victory wasn't standing alone at the top of a hierarchy. He used his new position to co-found River Rising, an organization that placed 200 marginalized students into higher education. A massive river doesn't need to shout to prove its strength. It dominates the landscape simply by refusing to stop its forward progress, moving with a quiet, unstoppable momentum that shapes everything it touches. You do not need to be a loud, isolated warrior fighting a war against the world. Accept your failures, rely on your people, and keep moving.